Hey, man.
What's up, bro?
It's Food Fridays.
Cool.
Do you know what that means?
Weed.
Yeah. Sometimes it's rice and sometimes it's weed, man.
Today we're going to talk about edibles.
Cannabis infused foods.
Yeah.
Which is basically all food that
you just can put weed in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
edibles.
we're just gonna roll our sweet ass weed intro.
Are we ready to begin?
Good morning.
My name is Misty.
Come on, Ike, it's time.
We would be honored if you would join us.
The greatest adventure of all time.
We just become best friends. Yep.
Come on, let's get in character.
What are you waiting for, huh?
Oh, come on!
All right, man, we're back.
All right.
This here says, what foods can you make with marijuana?
Pretty much anything.
Yeah, the important base.
Like anything.
Yeah. The important base to all food edibles is that it has fat that has been infused with THC.
So
In other
lots of times
words,
butter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any food that contains butter, oil, milk, or any fatty substance that can be turned into an edible. Examples of cannabis-infused foods include, but are not
Brownies.
limited to,
Brownies.
cookies,
Cookies.
baked goods, candy, potato chips, and more.
Potato chips.
Dude, you never had.
First of all, whoever makes their own potato chips,
Bro.
like that's a lot of work.
Oh man,
It's a lot of work.
I love doing that. I love making my own chips.
You know, one of these days you need to bring lunch for us that you cooked.
All right. At least we're going to eat after our Food Fridays for a
True,
change.
we are. Well, I mean, obviously edibles have become a lot more socially acceptable since a lot of states are legalizing recreational marijuana use.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, they come in the form often in dispensaries as candy. Weed gummies, weed lollipops, weed, fruit chews, things like that. It's very, very easy to inject some cannabis into
So silly.
into the candies.
Candies.
I
I'm going to say accidentally, took a marijuana lollipop to South America one time.
Okay.
And I was having trouble sleeping in the jungle because I thought tarantulas were going to crawl over
Yeah,
me.
absolutely.
So I just
Don't blame you for that.
Had a little bit of that lollipop. Here is a map where states marijuana is legal. On this map, the blue is medical and
Yep.
the green is recreational. And that is a shitload of more states than I thought.
Yeah, is that current as of now?
Who knows? This is July
Is there a
2nd.
date on that?
Updated as of July 2nd, 2021.
Oh, okay. It's pretty close then.
Yeah.
That is a lot more recreational than I thought. I thought that the medical would be more than the recreational. But I guess if it's green, then you're medical and recreational. That's over half the country now.
Yeah. And the gray ones are still
That's
illegal.
fantastic.
The light blue is where it's voted for medical. New York City, New York State just voted most recently.
Yep.
That means it's going to be federally legal soon. Once it passes recreational in all like 40, 50 states.
Yeah. So, okay, here's my thing. Not ever been a weed smoker, a weed fan. However, have always been, except for yesterday, This country started with George Washington growing hemp.
Yep.
So how did we go so far backwards to then have to move the needle this far forwards?
I think it all comes down to taxes, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't a large
Which
enough.
I realized yesterday, it is taxed considerably.
28% or something.
Dang.
Yeah. It's, there wasn't a large enough demand for it when it was underground. And now that it's getting more and more legal, people are buying it up. Our former producer here at Misty and Ike Industries.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if I can say this. Works in the cannabis industry.
Yeah, why would you not be able to say that?
I don't know if he wants specifically where he's
You
working.
didn't say his name, so we've had...
Yeah, Nick will be fine. He won't. But he works in a state that's only medical. So all of his patients have medical cards and from their doctors. But we were chatting the other day about their plans for expansion when it goes federally legal and you can sell it anywhere. They're going to just going to explode. So
yeah,
it's an interesting thing to know that, like, the state that I'm from, North Carolina, it's completely illegal. I can fly
Kansas
out of
as well.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I can fly out of LAX with up to a certain amount of weed, and if I land in North Carolina and they're waiting for me, going to jail.
Pretty much. Same with Kansas.
Super weird. But back to marijuana recipes.
Recipes or recipes.
So here's a couple different ways to infuse it, right?
Okay, tell me.
There's a drink. You can put it in drinks. Right?
There are a lot of beverages nowadays.
Yep.
Lots.
There's a tincture, which is potent alcohol-based cannabis extracts.
I have often been known to take CBD tinctures, which is a spun down version.
Well, CBD, it doesn't have any like hallucinogen effects.
They spin it out separately.
Yeah.
It's almost like spinning out blood.
Yeah.
To take platelets out of
you
it.
can
It's very similar.
you can buy CBD only joints, and it's just good for your body.
Absolutely. Man, I woke up this morning feeling like a champ.
Yeah. CBD. I used to take a lot of CBD.
Me too.
I need to take it again. It just mellows you out a little bit.
It does.
You can have dissolvable cannabinoid powder, which basically means you can put it in anything you're making.
Absolutely.
There's CBD edibles, which are non-psychoactive and non-intoxicating and contain 0.03% THC. That is about the perfect amount. So I used to buy the same brand of edible all the time, and it had 5 milligrams. And I would buy the same brand because one brand's 5 milligram is another, and the other one says 5 milligram. One will get you rockets to the moon, and one will just mellow you out a little bit. So I always tried to buy the same brand, and I would cut it in. They would come in these little cubes, like just this little big, and I would still cut those in quarters.
And was it like a gummy? Or?
It's just a little square gummy with some sugar on it, and 5 milligrams, way too much for me as an edible, but cut into quarters, it was just a perfect little happy afternoon mellow.
Yep. I used to, there's a company here in LA called Lord Jones, and they make gumdrops. And that's, I used to do the same, cut those in half. And
then they also have oil and butter for the making
butter
of food.
is very, very popular because that is all the baking goods and things like that. Like you can very, very easily make a batch of brownies, or you can have your lead singer go to the desert to her aunt's house for a week and come back with brownies and meet you at a club, and you're already really drunk and you're hungry and you eat a half a plate of the brownies.
Oh no.
And you end up at Hyde in the bathroom throwing up, and then you meet Zach Braff, and it's a long night.
Very specific hype.
And Lindsay Lohan. Not her that night.
So who did that happen to?
I don't, it's a story that I heard one time.
Yeah.
Noelle from Des Moines was so kind as to pull out a plate of brownies in front of the Troubadour. And I was with the Pink Spiders and our friend Craig.
What's up, Craig? If you're watching this, give me a call.
It just did not, it didn't end well. It ended up with me calling my old roommate, Lindsay. And,
what's up, Linz?
On Sunset and going, you have to come get me. And she was like, where are you? And I was like, I have no idea.
Good luck finding me.
There's a giant billboard in front of me that has this on it. And that's how she found me.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Those were the days. But the best part was I didn't know they were weed brownies. I just thought that they were brownies, and I was drunk and hungry. And I was like, I'm going to eat as many of these brownies as I can. Note to self, don't do that.
Yeah, mixing alcohol and cannabis can...
It is bad news. I don't know if it's respect or fear for people that are able to do that well.
Yeah.
Whew.
Well, I've got best weed recipes, 17 cannabis edible recipes, step by step.
Give me the highlights of what they are, just so that, maybe we give some people some ideas on what to make this weekend.
Well, here's a breakdown.
Okay.
There's the 3 basics. These can be used as a medium and can be infused with almost any recipe. You can get creative and add them to something you wouldn't have previously thought about. And then there's fan favorites. We put together a list of our top 5 recipes. These are the Cannabis School's main weed edible recipes we love. This is from the cannabisschool.ca. There's weed desserts. Everyone loves a good treat. Why not infuse some cannabis into them as well? There are a bunch of edible desserts recipes you can try. And then there's vegan recipes. Now you can have some options when it comes to your edibles. Vegan lovers can now dive into the weed edible world and explore 2 of our vegan recipes. So then it goes on to do weed cooking oil, which we already talked about. Weed milk.
Oh.
Favorite weed episode. What am I doing here? Weed infused fettuccine Alfredo. Get in my mouth.
That sounds delicious.
Weed gummy bears, weed pancakes, weed cookies, best weed dessert, weed muffins, weed banana bread, pumpkin spice weed cupcakes.
It is October, and I know what's going to happen.
Not for you on tour?
No, before I leave.
Oh, okay. Chocolate mint weed cookies, weed peanut butter cookies, weed butterball cookies. I'm sensing a theme here. Vegan weed brownies. And that's all I got.
Well, I mean, that was a chunk of things that I never would have thought about somehow infusing weed into pasta, but a lot of pasta sauces are butter-based, so that completely makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There was a weed cooking show on the Vice network.
I have just a fun, interesting fact for you. Mm-hmm. Cameron Diaz used to buy weed from Snoop when she was in high school.
They went to high school together?
They did.
They're the same age?
They went to Hollywood High, I believe.
This is going to be months late.
Yeah.
But Snoop is a Twitch person.
Okay.
Which is a live streaming platform that your fans
Yes.
can interact on. He's been muted for the last 3 days, and he doesn't know it. Like, he's just talking, and no one can hear what he's saying.
And no one's going to tell him.
Yeah.
So they attended Long Beach Polytechnic High School together. And, yeah, Snoop was the dude she went to buy weed.
The show I was thinking of on Vice was called Bong Appetit.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And every week they'd have a chef come and
cook something with weed.
Yeah, and then they would all eat it together.
Sounds like a
It'd be
very entertaining
hot.
show.
Like, they would try and just infuse as much weed as possible.
Right. Kind of on the food tip, this was something that was very interesting, weird fact too. There are more weed dispensaries in Colorado than there are Starbucks and McDonald's combined.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not to turn it into a weed episode, because I think we could do a whole one on just weed.
Right. No, I just thought since Starbucks and McDonald's are food places, so the number of Starbucks is 80. The number of McDonald's is 31. And that is, I believe, just in Denver. So the total number of Starbucks and McDonald's is 111. Number of medical dispensaries, 195.
Wow.
Number of recreational dispensaries, 169. For a total of 364. So 3 times as many.
Well, here's how much money people spend on weed every year.
Okay.
Illicit cannabis sales are estimated to be at more than $100 billion each year, which is like buying it from your guy on the street. Mm-hmm. The legal industry is catching up, albeit slowly. By 2026, the BDSA, I don't know what that is, predicts that the legal U.S. cannabis market will reach $41 billion in annual sales, roughly the size of the craft beer industry.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. U.S. cannabis, this is forbes.com, in March of this year, U.S. cannabis sales hit record $17.5 billion.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of money in marijuana.
There sure is. But you know what? I'm going to take us out on this note.
All right, take us out of here.
So we've been talking about how you can infuse all these things and cook with it, and that's what makes it a Food Friday. The one thing that you need to know is it is virtually impossible to overdose on cannabis.
That's right.
There's been some debate on what qualifies as a lethal dose of cannabis. The general consensus is that you would have to smoke 1,500 pounds of cannabis in 15 minutes, which is physically impossible.
Yeah.
So, same thing. You would have to consume the equivalent
1,500 pounds?
of what would cook down from 1,500 pounds, which would still be an immense amount of brown butter or, whatever you want to call it.
You can't get that much in you.
You can't. You wouldn't be able to eat that much.
Have you seen those glass coffins on YouTube that people lay in, and then they put weed in a blower, in like an air blow, like a leaf blower.
No.
They put in the intake of the leaf blower and they light it with a torch, and then it just fills the whole coffin up with like really thick smoke, and people try and see how long they can sit in there.
Stupid.
Oh yeah. But
Like really stupid.
people do it at parties too. They'll just go around and like blow the whole backyard with like a leaf blower of marijuana, and just this big cloud hangs over everybody. Everybody gets super high.
That's really dumb.
Hey, it's fun in your 20s, guys.
It's really dumb.
It's dumb to us. Dumb to the olds, fun to the
Dumb
youngs.
to the olds.
Dumb.
Fun to the youngs.
Fun to youngs.
All right. Well,
Ugh, what a week.
that's it on cannabis infused food.
That's right. And if we're not too high, join us tomorrow for our weekly wrap up, our Weedly wrap up. Puns are fun.
Oh, puns are fun.
Thanks for watching, guys. Leave us a comment, and as long as you're in a state that marijuana is not illegal, leave us a comment about your favorite dispensary or what kind of food you like to eat when you get high.
Ice cream. Okay, bye.
Bye.